All right, welcome to Crom Updates, episode number 17. I'm joined by Jake Jacobs, who I am in partnership with for Turbo Pit Fighter, which is a separate YouTube channel, which there will be links below. There's a lot of fun and activity going on over there, but I am working on a revised edition of my 2018 Crom the Barbarian, and I have been enlisting. Have 6 artists that are going to be providing pinups, and those pinups will also be used for Virgin covers for the new book. I'm hoping to get everything together and aligned. Stars blessing me for a May 1st, 2024 release. But I have, as I said, Jake with me. Jake, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for taking the time out on a Friday, which you have off from school. So we're kind of using some of your time there. So I greatly appreciate it. And I also greatly appreciate, as always, you giving me some artistic feedback. Jake and I do what we believe to be the only YouTube podcast that has, as you can see right now, side by side, the same comic book being worked on 2 different individuals. But I also have to say, and was one of the reasons I brought Jake in for this, these art directionals, is it's tough being an artist nowadays and living in your own little bubble. Writing, layouts, pencils, inks, packaging, marketing, yada, 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 yada. So when you have somebody who's doing the heavy lifting on stuff that you don't do very well, you're going to be in a higher grade of success. So I really can't thank Jake for taking the time. So Jake, I have sent you a PDF. It's my test printing. It's on the, I print them out on my yellow cream paper, 11 by 17. And I have the originals here with me. As I said right before we jumped on, I have already made some edits. You can already see here I added Rog to it. But you're coming in with some fresh eyes, which I love. So I am not going to keep yammering on. I'm going to just let you go ahead and let me have it. So go for it.
All right. Yeah, you sent me this, and I look forward to these updates because these pages are getting nicer and nicer. So let's see what we see. It might be good that I print these out. My printer is 8.5 11 laser, and it's a little bit hard. But that's sometimes good to see.
I think so.
In like what it might be like in bad lighting conditions if someone's reading this, or it might pick up things that are not that are really light ordinarily, and they come through, etc. Okay, so you have this very packed in feel to this whole project, and keeping with that, I always it kind of catches my eye, distracts me a little bit whenever there's some space that's not used, that isn't being used in the way that you're using it elsewhere, which is like pretty much everywhere. Now these lines that are appearing, they don't seem to be in the PDF. So this must be something that my printer's doing. But there is an empty space here, and it seems like this is asking for something.
Are you talking about here?
This right where I'm pointing to?
Right.
Yeah. So it seems like it's asking for something there, whether it's another cloud, or maybe like that's where you put your credits, right? Or maybe you put based on a story by Gardner Fox, or just something. I don't know if you want to fight with the title there, but it just seems like it's
cloud might be
space that isn't being used. You have a lot of nice black and white interplay in this top half of the page here. Especially here, it's a little bit. I have to look at the PDF at the same time because it's a little bit exaggerated, and I'm really missing a lot that's just darkening up. But you added the rog. Maybe you want to add the swoosh. That's
Ooh.
up to you. Here, when we come
Rog
down to the
swoosh.
mountain, when we come out to the mountains, um, now I've said this at the very beginning, but you're already married to the font, the typewriter font.
Yeah.
My fear is that when people of a certain age see that font, they just tune out. That's
Yeah.
like, oh, my students say, oh, that's old people's font. Yeah. Um, the thing about typewriter font is that it's monospaced, which means that every space takes up the same amount of space as another space, and there's no real kerning. So it is a little unnatural to read compared to some of these other fonts that have computerized algorithms for kerning pairs, which means every single combination of two letters being next to each other, left and right, um, have their own like customized spacing. When you're just typing them out, the computers do all that automatically, and then some still need to be adjusted anyway. But all that said, I would just squeeze this in a little bit. Maybe you can have like some rolling mists or something that just kind of frame this up. I was also thinking about taking this text and shaping it like they do in Star Wars, but you can kind of, you can kind of do that visually just by adding some like misty mountains or
I
clouds.
like that. It's supposed to be, this is a ledge. And I think I've really kind of hammered it down to be just very graphic, as like almost feeling like a scrolled piece of paper. But it's supposed to be kind of the feeling like it's written on the side of this wall, which then obviously bleeds into the sky. And these would
Right.
just be, some loose rocks on the top of this ledge, because then you
What you
get
might
those mountain ranges, because then it shifts down into here.
Right. It's a good thing you said that because I completely lost that. Like this here, okay, you don't even know. Like this looks like it's a panel and that this is the
Right.
sky cropping up.
Right.
So
Right.
with that, if you want to make this being a ledge that is actually supporting Crom's weight and everything, maybe you want to make like some some
Oh, that's
kind of like organic
interesting.
marks here, and
Yeah.
then transition that because it's going to turn into a sky. Maybe you want to have that fade in somehow.
Right.
um, Another thing is whenever you're engraving something into a mountainside, you can use the drop shadow and the emboss trick, which is multiple layers in Photoshop. I do that a
Right.
lot.
I did play around with it a little bit. It didn't. I think because of how small it gets, it's going to be even more difficult to. I had to read, so I would cut my losses on it. But
So what are these things right here?
what is what things?
These are these rocks or eggs?
Where around
All
them, those are
yeah, all
treetops. These are all treetops.
these are all the treetops. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
they look a little bit all the exact same.
yeah.
Where
The
treetops.
uniformity, right?
Yeah, I would go back in with some white and maybe like dab it all over the place to make it look a little more. I mean, does it explain anywhere that those are treetops? Because I thought those are rocks.
No, I mean, I wouldn't be upset if anybody or everybody actually treated him that way, because I am trying to inject a bit of alien terrain, if you will,
Okay.
based on some conversations with the other guys I'm working with on the pinups and stuff. They've all have had that question, like, "Hey, is this Earth or is this like another place?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't really know." And I do kind of lean to it being counter Earth or otherworldly, so it's a playground. So when I
Right.
had this tree motif to put, because he's a giant and obviously towering over the trees, I did kind of like just start playing around with this sort of replicatable shape. So
Okay. So if you want it to be trees, then I would make at least one tree that just stands above them all,
right,
right?
right, right,
Because
right.
then that conveys that they're all trees. I mean, the problem is that they're also uniform. So if you go
Yeah,
in and dirty that up with white and draw one big leaf, all the way in the foreground, because then or maybe like a bunch of leaves in an area, and
yeah,
then the mind will extend that. Oh, those are all trees. They're all leaves,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Um, so he's seeing the saber tooth there, but then he grabs a donkey.
yeah.
Okay,
I know.
so
That's contextual from what I lifted from the Thunder pages.
right,
That was sort of how that's how it was. And I didn't even not until I started redoing these pages did I realize how hard a shift that is. But
yeah. I mean, maybe you want to put.
it's
I don't know if you're adding any
tough.
text, but you would put like saber tooth's donkeys. No animal was spared.
I love it. I love it.
Um,
That
I'm
would be
gonna I'm
pretty
gonna
cool.
I'm gonna flip the script here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Close behind Mulligan came his followers. They carried stone-tipped spears. Is this like spelled like that because Gardner Fox was doing that? This is like old world spelling.
Yeah.
Okay. Stone-tipped spears and scavenged anything left in his path. Good. I like this panel. These mountains in the back are a little bit too perfectly
Yeah.
triangular.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe you could run it up. They also seem kind of like paper thin. Um,
Yeah.
maybe you want to layer them with some mountains behind the mountains, right?
Yep.
Like this. Like I don't know if you can see what I'm doing there, but I put some mountains behind the mountains, and then
Yeah.
also try to give it a little bit of depth. Um,
I agree.
so it isn't just like an afterthought. Like, oh, he put in some backgrounds. I mean, it's it does the trick, but I look at all these little details. I'm looking around for value. And this is good. You have a nice motion here, right? The diagonals, and then this is pointing over here. It's all great. The father of all giants coming. He towers above these walls. He'll crush us all. We'll stand and fight this father of giants. I alone with Skullbiter will bring him down. Really? Okay. Yeah, this is nice. You're getting, you're really packing it in. You're doing your transitions pretty neatly here. Let me just see if there's anything I'm missing on the PDF. So I'm not seeing. Wow, wait, this is way big. Okay. Um, all right, yeah. So here in the back, they're just like in the darkness. Are these guys supposed to be some kind of king and queen, or because their thrones
Once
look
again, yeah, from claiming Skullbiter, that story, Lala is explaining about the ruins and them saying it's like millennials and eons ago of age. So they're using an old decrepit kingdom, place, but they're not doing anything other than maybe living like cave dwellers inside of it. So if you are suggesting like there's anything, like add background elements, it would be elements like, furs hanging on walls, maybe, or
right.
something to
Maybe
that extent. Are you
has it gone decrepit? Is this like an old
Yeah,
throne room?
they're not intelligent enough, or they're not advanced enough to be, let's say civilized. They're just sort of all upheld in the caves,
So
or
I would say
in this ruins, these ruins, and treating them like caves. But they're having these interactions with alien artifacts, hence Skullbiter being this, steel iron
all
store
right. Well,
sword.
I would put a little. I would put a little. I take a white here. Put a little indication maybe of the stonework on the wall.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
good
know.
call.
I don't know if you want to put some like ornamentation like carved into these thrones, but they seem super plain. like
Yeah.
almost like tombstones. I see this head, this carving on the on
Yeah.
the
I
footrest
started
of
giving it a little something, yeah, but
okay. Um, Here, this sometimes the scratchiness really interferes. This one line scratches right through his face.
yeah.
That jumps out at me. You probably want to wipe that out at least on the mustache.
Right.
Crom had never seen a giant before. Yeah, take so again with these treetops. You know, take one of them or two of them and just make them look like the trees that are sticking way up, so that it's super clear. Because then you get a cool sense of him being way above the foliage. Where he does get sight of him, the breath choked in his throat. Okay, now this guy is rearing back an arrow, and the arrow looks a little bit oh, so yeah, if that's a bow, I would try to like make it a little more of a smooth curve. It looks like a
Yeah.
chunky snake or something.
Right.
Or, um, amid a shower of stones and spears that only bounce off his thick, shaggy hide, Mulgren charged the wall. Yeah, okay, this is like and the same thing over here with these trees. Don't take one tree, one area of one tree, and just make it like make a branch sticking out. Am I on the right page, Nick?
You
No, I have
are.
to go.
You are.
I have to go here.
Yep.
Really? Okay.
Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, shit. This is backwards. Sorry.
Yeah, the
Sorry.
action. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because then it's the run. Yes, yes, it is. So these are backwards. This is page 4.
Run. The rest of you run for your lives. I mean, if I was writing this fresh, I would put a comma there. The rest of you, comma, run for your lives. Lala, go with them. I'll try to hold him back as long as I can. And his the hand is being reached in here. In mad fury, Mulgren attacked the stone wall. His hands tore great chunks of it to powder. All right, so you have this, about an inch here on the left of just white space. And I know you dirty it up, but it seems like it's asking for something there. Whether it's just like, maybe somebody falling away, like a body that's being like defeated, or some stones, some rubble, or yeah, maybe just like some trees. Um, I would stick something in there. Now if he's throwing, is he throwing his sword, or is he stuck it in?
No, it's flying away from him. So he's like swung, and it's like bounced off. It's bounced off of the hand, and so it's
At
flying
first,
back
I
here.
thought at first I thought this is his arm is the follow through, and that he had
Right.
stuck the sword in the monkey in the ogre.
It has that feeling. It has that feeling.
So what you could, whether you could say, "Ugh, lost my sword." Um, yeah,
I could put something in here.
your trees are giving me a really good idea here for like
Uh-oh.
a planet that's composed of brains of like
it did go at one place, as I was evolving these. I even thought that same thing, but I also felt a little like, was that going to be too sharp a contrast in for what I've already laid? Like, would that reaction have a heavier effect elsewhere that would really push this? Which, as I'm saying it, I'm thinking, wow, maybe that's really what these pages need. But
that would be cool. There I saw a crazy indie comic in Forbidden Planet that had this world that was composed of like weird objects like that. Here I'm kind of losing these bottom two fingers here. My printout's dark. It's a little better on the PDF, but not that much better. I think you need to
here,
delineate
slide over, like you're off to the. Yeah.
Okay,
Keep
good.
going.
Because I'm
Yeah.
looking on the computer at the PDF.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah, go
right
ahead.
here you need to delineate. This is a finger, and this is a finger, and this is his leg.
Right.
Um, I think you need to make that clearer. Also, like I don't know if the fingers match the size of the thumb, right? That thumb is like 3 times bigger than these other fingers.
Right.
Maybe it's like foreshortening or whatever, but just bring out the fingers, either way, and and then bring out that these are trees because I keep thinking about this great idea where there's a whole planet that's one brain, but then there's sub brains. It's like
Sprouting brains.
yeah, well, yeah, so yeah, that's it on that. And then if you want to on the storytelling, make it clearer that his sword is lost. Maybe you can add a word balloon or something.
Yeah, I think that space in his crotch and that bottom of that thumb that's kind of calling for something, and I kind of like that stepping of the text because you have that,
Yeah,
and
you
then
don't
it's
really.
ugh, whereas there's this boom shit, and then lost skullbiter or lost my sword or
Yeah, lost
weapon.
sword, lost, ugh.
Yeah, ugh ugh.
Um. So now we're supposed to read in Mad Fury, Mulgren attacked the stone walls. Huh. I
Yeah.
mistakenly read that second.
Well, I
So
mean, it's not. I
I
don't
would,
think
I
it
would,
destroys. It doesn't. The continuity is not that destroyed because it's not like this is a standoff with Crom by Mulgrim's point of view. It's just Mulgrim tearing at the ruins.
I got that. I just read that completely out of order. So this guy he's one of the guys fighting here as Crom is about to get grabbed, right? He belongs to this panel. So because he looks like he's towering over the giant here,
Oh
um,
yeah. Yep.
looking down. So I would take this whole text right here and I would reverse it because that would and then kind of like
Oh
blend
wow.
it in here, because that would separate it. And then I think the tendency would be to go this way rather than down.
So
You
you're
know,
saying
you
white text on black.
yeah, and then fade the black in here, so that it kind of, so it doesn't like butt up against the giant. But I
Hmm.
think you need to separate this, a little bit better, and I think that'll do it. Um, this guy, the I guess majesty on the of the size of the giant is lost here when you have this guy's head, which is bigger than
Yeah.
his.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had taken out another head in the last story because it had this. I lifted it and left it in a sense to try to keep things here and then go back here. But
yeah. I mean, what is he doing there? That's my question. Like,
yeah,
if you put his hand here, where he's holding his hand, like he's hurt really bad, and then there's blood trickling all over his face, then that's like okay, the natives are getting defeated here.
getting busted up. I like
Otherwise,
that.
he's
I
not
like
doing
that.
anything. He's not adding
Right,
anything, right?
right.
So maybe you want to take this guy's hand and put it here.
Love it.
Uh, yeah.
Love
Um.
it.
So yeah. So he's tearing up the walls. This is all fine. And then here you see Crom. Crom's knocked out here on the bottom. I almost
Yep.
missed that. So maybe you want to have some. I don't know. You want to have like some Tweety and Sylvester stars or something. Some kind of graphic
Oh.
that is showing that he's knocked out. The birds they go.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you got stars, and
Oh,
then
that's all
yeah. I don't. Not a Tweety. I wouldn't go that comical. I mean, I am. That is another conscious thing. That's why one of the reasons this got added in the ROG is I've been playing on a separate piece of paper, little pieces of paper. These kinds of cartoonier effects. and it wasn't associated to this. But then when I was reviewing the pages, I saw this and I was like, wait a second. So I X-Acto cut it out and then I put it right there and I was like, oh, yes, I love it, So I'm totally up for that. Those ideas. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the longer I spend, sometimes I look at a panel and I read it and I'm like, my eyes are scanning it, and then the longer I spend on it, I just realize I'm missing so much. And I think if someone's just like flipping through this book, there's, you have to really slow them down. So yeah, I would use some kind of graphic, comic language to show that he's knocked out and bring the person's eye down there. Otherwise, you could miss him like I missed him.
I agree. First. Thank you. Yeah.
The other thing is you got some of your Brillo pad trees here, and I'm missing the sense. He's so far in the foreground now.
Yeah.
How did he get so far away from these trees?
Well, he's gotten pulled from the wall. So up here, he's been pulled, just like I said, he's just been batted away because Mulgrim is just crawling. He's just,
right. But for these trees to be so small in the background, like little pieces of broccoli, he would have.
He got really thrown. He got really
hundreds of yards away into a clearing where there's no trees.
Right.
So what I would do is, I don't know if you want to just take the trees out or just maybe put a hint of the tree here, like in front of the white, Harvey and Catnip lines. But, maybe have his hand sticking up here, like he's, that Gil Kane dazed hand,
Oh, wow.
I could draw it over here on a scrap paper. How he has this like dazed hand, like, oh, I've been knocked out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got me good on that one. Right. And so, because otherwise, you feel like he's stunned, but it's not the end. And let's see. Sob, Crom is dead. I don't want to live either. Now your sobs are so light that I lost them here.
Yeah, I have done that on purpose. I just kind of wanted to make them a little bit pushed back. Right. I just wanted to see what it looked like in print.
That's happening for sure, but you should bring them back a little bit.
Bring a little bit more? Sure.
Yeah, because if they're like 20%, they need to be like 40%. Yeah.
Okay.
Crom is dead. I don't want to live either. Sob. Okay, so this is this is Lala. We're cutting to a shot of her, and where are they? Are these guys down in the foliage, or are they in the castle, or what's going on?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I never thought of it. I thought I would assume they're, well, I'm not assuming. I know they're making their way out of the ruins. So, they could be even at the entryway. And then, of course, that goes, into utter terror. Crom's people yield to the followers of Mulgrim, and a long trek of wandering with them as slaves begins. So these guys here are also supposed to be, with the spears, are Mulgrim's followers.
Right. So what you're doing here with the background is you have this kind of like neutral gray background with a texture in there.
Yeah.
And it's putting them in limbo. You could just cut one line across, that could be the wall, like here, let's say, or here. Yeah, like, and then just make it like darker above and lighter below, just to have like a point of reference, right? Like, oh, there's the wall over there.
Yeah.
In utter terror, Crom's people yielded to the followers of Mulgrim, and a long trek of wandering with them as slaves began. So this is the giant here?
No, this is just one of the followers, which are these mongrel, ape-like creatures.
You can't throw that in before the word followers, I guess, to make that clearer. The ape-like followers of Mulgrim, or the savage followers, or the unkempt, or whatever.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Neanderthal or whatever?
I can, because then I can just print it back out and just paste it right over there.
Okay, yeah, and yeah, these trees are too neat. That you gotta just like have some tree that breaks up the pattern. So that you see this is a tree. Like, why don't you just take all this space here and make like a bigger tree that's
Yeah,
standing in
push
front
it
of all
up,
the trees?
push up the
Yeah,
page,
and
push up your page.
yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm looking at the PDF.
No, 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 no.
So
I got.
yeah, just take this space here that's not doing anything. Make a big tree with clear branches and the fuzzy stuff on the top, and then just put some grass in front of it, some Charles Schultz grass in front of it, and and then like the rest are all integrated. Once you see that
Cool.
one tree,
Right.
then all the rest makes sense, right?
Cool.
And because right now I don't know if these are people, if these are buffaloes, if they're brains, or what's going on.
Okay.
Um, Behind them was left only death and utter ruin. You're missing a space between utter and ruin.
A
Yeah.
space between utter and ruin. What do you mean?
No, I'm sorry. And utter.
And utter. Actually, I think that's a word. I
No,
think.
and utter. No. It's only death and utter ruin. Um, your text boxes are a little bit tight to your words too.
Yeah.
I would give it a little more air.
Right.
And if this was me, I would also kick this over, about halfway so that it's not crowding the space. Just kind of distribute things a little bit better. How about on these stairs, put some splats of blood and some crack?
Nice. Nice.
Maybe like on a sort like a tooth or something. And this is Crom here in the foreground.
Yep.
All right, and so now Crom is just out of it. Okay.
Then now we
See
go.
what
Now
happens
we go.
next.
4. Yep. There you go.
As the moon flooded the deserted city with its pale glow, a figure stirred slowly. All right, so the composition here, that's the moon back there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, take that shading, take these three shading lines off the moon. You're making it look like a pog or a coaster. No shading on the moon. If that's the case, so some of this space looks like it's underused here. As the moon flooded the deserted city with its pale glow, a figure stirred slowly. So where's the pale glow of the moon? It's just a circle against a black field. I don't know if
I
you
am
want to.
gonna do spray painting. I'm
Yeah,
gonna mask, and I'm gonna really make this fuzzy
yeah.
like with
Mask
the.
off the foreground and then
Yep.
pale glow the moon. Okay,
Yep.
great. Also, it's calling for something right here because you don't have that much like empty space anywhere else. I would put in "Ugh, where am I?" or something.
Yeah, we can
You
even
know,
keep the stars and
what was
the
what was
wall, 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 wall.
what was the license plate of the truck back there? So here, this is good. You're doing this automatically now. Remember,
Yes.
this doesn't have to be so solid white,
Yep.
right? It just
Yep.
has to be white enough.
Yep.
You don't want it to like pop out too much. Lala is gone. Those are my people who didn't flee into the forest. Are prisoners of Muldrin. I must find Lala, but how? What can I do against a giant? All right, so he's getting up. He figured out where his sword is, right?
Yep.
Um, the feel of snake biter is back in my grasp. Whatever. Um, all right, so this is just bricks and ruins. I would sloppy it up. Let's put splatters of blood and dripping. The walls are dripping with the carnage of the massacre. The trail of the great Mulgren, his half men soldiers and their captives were easy to follow. Here I would say the same thing. This row of trees, like move a couple of trees out a little bit farther up, show that it's a tree, and then the rest will be better here.
Yeah.
Um,
Lift up your sheets.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
right here. Just stick a tree
Yep.
up here,
Yep.
and then maybe like a second tree that's behind it, so it looks like a row of trees, you know. And because when you have the line of trees is so perfect, it looks weird.
Right.
It's like, and there's, and the forest here, you got some dirty stuff here, but where's all the footprints of the little guys too, of all the small people too? Like all their feet would have trampled with them, right?
Yep.
By way of grassy plains and watery bogs, his battered body gained renewed strength. Crom finally reached the end of the long trek. Okay, and he's coming up to some buildings here, right?
Yes. And I want to make these. Yeah, I'm making these a little more alien. I think I have another.
Some of these marked here above him.
Next pages.
Okay, so these buildings here, like, if there's any windows in the buildings, I would put them in, but not solid white, just like light gray. These marks up here above the buildings look a little bit unsure of what they're trying to be. Is that supposed to be smoke? I would just make it darker,
Okay.
Regardless of what you just make it darker, and then it'll visually disappear.
Yeah,
somewhat. All alone, it will be an impossible task. There must be some way to overcome that giant. So he's trying to figure it out, right?
Yep.
Pensive. Okay, yeah, you can see. Maybe if he had his fingers here on his chin.
Move over. Yep. Thank you.
Maybe if he had his fingers here on his, like, a couple of fingers here on his chin. Right? Like Rodin's The Thinker. Because his expression here just isn't doing anything. And you have this little furrow in his brow. I would bring that a little bit bolder and then put a couple of fingers on his face. The barbarian watched a line of slaves, mostly made up of his people, came from the ruined city under guard to till the fields for food. Great. Okay. Yeah, this is good. He's got a very resentful face. Just maybe clean up his hand a little bit. It looks a little bit swirly, like he's got the design patterns of Clea. Clea's leotards on Doctor Strange. She's got some awesome designs on her leotards.
Totally subconscious.
Way before yoga pants were doing the same thing. Yeah, this is good. This is good. I mean, just integrate this a little. Next, we're going to. I'm just trying to figure out the action here. Skull biter in hand, right? Is that next?
Nope. You're gonna get to this one here.
An arrow.
Yeah, and this page has probably been one of the most challenging pages for me. I'm gonna lead with that, but
okay.
This is
I mean, it sounds like it should say suddenly an arrow.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But
one of the things I'll just kind of lead you here a little bit. What I've been playing around with is flipping the panel. So I don't know if you can see that, but I printed it out from one of the first iterations, and then I cut out that.
Yeah, because the arrow
laid it.
The other way.
Yeah, that was like, where the hell is this coming? Now I had taken him out. He was originally over here, kind of like coming up behind him, but then it just didn't. It was this was just really just a mess. And so in triage here, an emergency room, I even played down this side of the tree just to see what would happen if I started eliminating that. So what do you think?
Well, without doing too much, I mean, if you flip that, I mean, it is possible he got shot in the front and then he spun around, but you don't have any motion lines.
That's true.
You got to have the motion lines if that's the case. Also, that's kind of like weird storytelling because it's not as direct. All right, a lot going on here. So you have this really dark patch that has kind of like Kirby dots. Now, if this is all supposed to just be trees and stuff, you don't want to call attention to that. You'd rather have that gray. I would also bring this farther down if you're just going to leave this space kind of blank, I would fill it in more, and if is this, what are these lines here? Is this like a fence or something?
Nah, just like weeds, reeds, or whatever.
Yeah, all right, make that clearer. Reeds, they could be tall reeds, that's fine, but just make them, a little more clear because they just look like lines.
Right.
Yeah, so make this grayer. Make this less black. Um, so the bow. So maybe this guy needs to have a quiver. Where are his arrows, right?
Yeah. Good point.
And another arrow, and then another one brought one guard down after the other. So maybe you want to. Right. I don't know if you want to end up drawing some more guards, but maybe there should be. So this is the first one, and this is what's going to happen, not what they're looking at, right?
Correct. So
Return your
these two guys here are gonna get it next. That's what it's alluding to.
right. All right, yeah. I mean, it's a little sparse here.
Yep.
You, if you want to like enhance the storytelling, I don't know if you could show a little bit of the building, maybe. I mean, is
Ooh.
he's moving towards the building, right? So just make a
Yeah.
hint, make a little hint of the building here, like a window.
Hint. Yeah. I love it. God damn it, I
Return to
love it.
your homes, all of you. Tell all that Crom is going to find Mulgren and kill him. Oh wow, okay. So here he is. He's kind of like he's showing like a
Yeah.
projection. He's so much lighter than everybody else. The
Right.
thing is, he's also so sketchy.
Yeah.
I would like to see you do one more pass on him because he's so much lighter than everybody else. He's almost like an apparition, which I get that feeling. But
What I'm going for, I am going for apparition. I'm also playing around in my head the trope of like the whole Tarzan white man of the black continent jungle and always sort of being bossy and shit. You know what I mean? Like he has all the answers and all the focus and direction, and then this obviously this little angelic kind of codifying on him.
Yeah,
So
no, that
there's some intentional playing of exactly what you've described. Whether I need to shit and get off the pot's, I think the bigger question.
No, it's fine. I would just make it one. I would just put one more pass on it of more finished line
So
work because
stronger, just single
yeah, because
lines.
you're not going to lose that feeling, but you're also you're going to make him look like he's sketchy. I mean, you don't want this to look like a work in progress. You want it to look like the final piece. You also might bring these. You got these pointy, fine white lines here. Extend them. I mean, or I can't draw it here, but extend them so that they turn into little dots that
Ooh,
continue because that'll only help. And you're just like plain black here,
yeah, right.
Here in this guy's mustache, it looks a little scratchy. Just
Yeah,
one more pass on that.
a little darker.
Here, this guy's being flipped. Soon the mighty Mogul will come to find out who is killing his followers and freeing his slaves. So this seems like it needs some action lines here. This guy's getting flipped, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and maybe this guy's needs some. What is he doing? How is he getting upside down?
There's some judo right there. Just grabbing them and throwing them. You know.
Right. So he's just plowing his way. Well, if that's the case, then why don't you make a dark guy here that's also falling away like a Gilkane straw man? And that's just completely black to show that he's plowing
Yeah.
plowing through a crowd of them.
Okay.
And maybe you could even, I don't know, maybe you have room here. Maybe have like just the head and the head of and the arm of one guy that's already on the ground, and these other guys are flying around like he's
Right.
just through them like butter, right?
Right.
Oh, he's got his hand here. Okay, I just
Yeah.
noticed he has his hand here. Yeah, so then this guy needs some white speed lines, right?
Right.
And then show I would show another guy here being tossed around like a rag doll, and then a guy on the ground. You know, maybe even with an arrow in him.
Oh shit, that would be yeah. Oh wow, I love that because then
If you
it
can
shows how quick. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's yeah, I like that. I
slowly,
like
day
that a
after
lot.
day, the trickle of freed slaves became a flood. Realizing that the loss of slaves and warriors meant Mulgren and his warriors had to emerge from their stronghold to investigate. Realizing that, comma, wait, no, wait. Realizing that the loss of slaves and warriors meant, oh no, realizing that, comma, the loss of slaves and warriors meant Mulgren and his warriors had to emerge from their stronghold to investigate. Yeah, you need a comma there.
Got it.
This is all good, except
Lift up
maybe
your
for this.
push up your
Sorry.
page. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this is all good. I like all this here. This is nice, but this bush look. This bush looks like it's the sweater of this kid, like a Texas
It's
sweater.
yeah. I do that a lot. I kind of try to play these two places, but then I'm forgetting that I want I want division, and so that's where this starts coming in. So is this too dark?
Well, let me look at the PDF. So, I mean, it's got a texture to it. All right, yeah, it looks like it's just foliage that you can do something with. Why don't you have like some? Why don't you go in with a lighter gray and then put some
Yeah.
points on this gate or something?
Oh yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Pointed gates, right? And that'll give you
Yeah.
some upward direction. But then maybe just have like a defining line here at the top so it doesn't look like it's this guy's sweater,
Right.
his Hun jacket. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you need to do anything in there, but those are all just little areas where there's like a square inch of just the same pattern. Realizing that the loss was so this is cool. I like how you have this lighter here and it's all scratchy,
Yeah.
but there's no explanation. So it's just is he flying in the air?
Yes, descending into. If you go to the next page, so it kind of it's like the next page. The visual I had was that he was descending down this staircase. This is him jumping into this page full of action.
Okay.
That's kind of how I plotted it out with what I was pulling from
Okay.
source material.
Well,
So
if he's flying down, you need some sense of where he's coming from or where he's going. I mean, you could just put some speed lines here that may be a little bit darker, and then maybe some rustling leaves or something. But I would he just looks like he's nowhere. So I would
right,
put like
right.
where's he going? There's somewhere he's landing here, like whatever. This is
Right.
a floor.
Ooh, I could put the steps in
Yeah, just put a
there.
couple of steps in there, like he's
Yeah.
landing
Ooh,
somewhere.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
if you
yeah,
want it to be
yeah.
like a silent thing, that's fine, but just don't leave it. Just don't leave like too many questions unanswered.
Right, right,
Skullbiter in hand, Crom stormed the citadel of Mulgren. So you're losing the of here.
right.
Um, in his battle rage, he drove the half men. You're missing the dash also. Some of
Dash
this is
there,
getting
yeah.
impinged here.
Yeah.
Before him, as a wind blowing dry leaves. Yeah, that's great. So let's have some of these like blood spurts and excitement lines all over the
Right.
place.
Yep.
You know, and I think you might have to have some more definitional lines. Yeah, this is dark here, where this guy's um, what do you call it? His grass skirt. You're
Fur
losing.
kilt.
Yeah, you're losing him, defined against the background. So just define the grass skirt with an outline of light gray.
Right.
there. I'm looking at the PDF, and yeah, that'll get some motion going. Uh, this guy right here, he looks like he's just standing still, and I'm not sure what to do about that. You want to make it look like he's rushing towards the Crom, right?
Yeah.
Maybe can you put a little hint of his back arm so that he's like in motion more?
Like here.
Yeah, like his arm is rearing back a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that helps, but so here this is just a silent panel of Crom just striking, right?
Yeah, just bashing the hell out of everything.
How
It's
about
pretty
if there
good.
was using a brighter color, a recoil of blood splattering with this kind of
Like
motion
a
here?
lighter gray. Like
Yeah, right. The trail of blood is like it's with every recoil dripping off his sword. Blah blah blah
yeah.
blah blah. Right,
Yep.
right. That takes care of them. Now to find the slave pens, you can see here that you're losing some text.
Yep.
Um, right, he's jumping down again, so maybe the downward speed lines using some white, maybe not too many. Um, in the deepest part of the ancient city of ruins, you're losing part of the part of.
Yep.
He's rearing back, and then it was so horrible they were keeping me to offer up as a sacrifice to Mulgrim. So yeah, you got to avoid. This is him comforting Lala inside after he's already broken in, right?
Yep.
Okay, I knew that, but maybe people looking at this are just
It's
not
tough.
doing that. It looks like he's looking at the guy
Right.
cracking it up. So you need
Right.
a line here that separates the this scene from this scene, and she can
White.
overlap. Yeah, a lighter line here. Even if you have to take away part of the door, don't worry about it.
Sure. Sure.
Here it looks like she needs some darker highlights in her hair. Otherwise, I mean, I don't know. His doesn't look as bad, but hers looks like it's like too bleach blondie. Otherwise,
Right. Right.
um, the escape was made swiftly, but when the line of fleeing men and women are only a mile from the sheltering forest, a voice called out in utter terror, "Look,
Push
Mulgren!"
up. Push up. Push up your page, please.
The escape was made swiftly, but when the line of fleeing men and women are only a mile from the sheltering forest, a voice called out in utter terror, "Look, Mulgren comes for us." And we're not supposed to see Mulgren anywhere?
Nope, he's making his way to him. This was they're leaving the city of ruins, and they're coming up this little hill, and looking back to see that, this is gonna,
Okay.
this has come upon them, and then you get another page turn.
All right. So
You'll
for
get
this
another
page,
page turn on that.
yeah, for the clarity of storytelling, I would see it's confusing because she's pointing over here, but this guy's looking back at her, and he's looking at her. They're all looking over here. Um, it is Mulgren over here, or should he be in the castle?
I would, yeah. I mean, he's probably, Crom is blocking the view of Mulgren.
But Mulgren's all the way over here. Like the castle that they're escaping from is over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just take her arm down and make somebody else pointing. Like you don't have enough people anyway. I would just draw some silhouetted more people here, and you could very easily just have a guy pointing back at the castle. Because that's where everyone's looking. That's where he's looking and he's looking.
That's a good point.
So draw a white silhouetted figure here that's pointing at the castle. Take her arm down, and
Right.
then a couple more people. If it's supposed to be a column of people, let's see
Right.
some hints of that, right?
Right. Love it.
This is so funny because the president of the my teachers union, the UFT, his name is Mike Mulgrew, and so everybody you're saying every time you're saying Mulgrew and the horrible, Mulgrew and the terrible ogre, it rings true.
Nah, didn't know. So yeah.
If you want to know what's going on with the UFT, they have like pretty much like staged assemblies, and everything is run from the top down, and the elections are really like shady.
Sure.
So that's why the connotation is so funny. Michael Mulgrew. So is this where I'm? This is where I'm at.
Yeah, it's the last page. Last page.
All right, la. I will hold Mulgrew long enough for most of you to escape. No, if you stay, I stay. Do you think I want to live if Mulgrew kills you? So here you're doing it again, like you're keeping them very light against the background stuff, but
Right.
but it's also very sketchy. I would just go one more time with a fully dark pen and just put in just the most important lines and indications of their facial expressions and their definition of their hair, and leave it the rest light. This guy's a rando here.
That's Mulgrew.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that.
Sorry. Coming through those brainy trees.
Okay. Yeah. Can we give him a hand, a threatening hand?
Yeah, like a reaching out. Whoa, I almost drew in there. So they'd be like a.
And can you make it so that the trees are parting ways a little bit, or maybe he has his hand is parting ways, like here. If you put his hand here, I don't know if Mulgrew is a lefty or a righty, but if you put his hand like that, and then maybe like a couple of tree branches are like bending out of the way,
Right.
Because the only reason I say is because I thought that these were all the heads of the bowed down people that were fleeing.
Right.
Yeah. Some random guy like, oh, I'm not doing too good.
Well, the whole thing is that I take this head out. This is what I was alluding to before. Is I kept it based on source material, but then it's just so I just eradicated it. So this you don't even have anymore because it
I was going to say what
makes everything move.
Yeah,
it was. I like the old man's skull head, but it just no. There was no. It was not working at all. So
watch out for these little marks right here, because it looks like it's trying to be words in the middle of the dialogue.
Right.
And this is
clean it up.
When this is printed up darker, you obscuring kills you.
Right.
Then run, Lala, run.
Run, Lola, run. Remember that movie?
Run, Lola, run.
You don't remember that movie?
No, I don't think so.
I'll put a link in the description. Great movie.
Yeah, maybe just another piece, one or two more pieces of her hair flapping in the wind to convey the motion.
Can you move over? Wherever they go. Oh, hair's okay.
Hair flapping in the wind. Yeah.
Okay.
Mulgrew is right behind us, and the lava flats, So what's a lava flat?
So this is lava underneath it. So this is the crust they're wandering. It's like ice, if you will. So they lead him on the lava flats, and then he falls into it.
Okay, there's only a thin crust separating them from falling into the lava.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, you see it right here. The thin crust of dry lava above the seething depth and bubbling volcanic fluid supports lava and Crom. And with a few mighty steps, his tremendous weight. Yeah, but it should be but, not and.
But
you're saying it supports Lala and Crom. But with a few mighty steps, his tremendous weight, and you don't say who he is. His tremendous weight.
Add Mulgrew.
Yeah, Mulgrew's or the giant's tremendous weight split the crust. And now you need a sound effect here. Come on, this is dying.
Yeah. What do I need? What should be the sound effect? What?
Casplaccio.
How do you spell Casplaccio?
No,
That sounds Italian. It sounds like an Italian dish. Hey, why don't you give me another bowl of Casplaccio?
Exactly. So wait, let me just finish that. So I like this. And then he is towering over them. They're scampering away. Yeah, this looks weird. It looks like his sword is turning into a hockey stick, but that's his leg.
If you look on the, I have made a lot of changes, or additions to it. Like shoulders come out even a little bit more. These guys have come in a lot more defined.
Even since you sent me the PDF then.
Yep. Like I said, this is pretty old. Even down to I got ahead of you and I added a hand in the bubbles as he's submerging, and that was Jake's voice in my head saying, "Come on." But yeah, I need a sound effects. What's
here's before we get to that. So,
all right,
you should maybe see what I'm doing here. Have some.
Oh yes,
some sizzle coming through the crack.
Sizzle,
and then
sizzle.
Here, the sizzle is like everywhere.
Sizzling.
It's like they're barely even.
Right.
They're barely even.
That's great, Jake. Jake, that is so awesome.
And with a few mighty steps, the giant's tremendous weight split the crust and scratch pluff. Well,
no, it's got a.
First it's a hard sound.
How about scrump now?
but you got the hard sound, and then you got the lava bubble.
Yeah, exactly. It needs to be two. It needs a hard and soft sound.
So it's scratch, and then it kind of like.
So you got you're gonna get it's gonna be a combo between crunch and splat.
I got scratch pluffed.
We should wait a second. Let me get on to ChatGPT and ask him to come up with a word for crunch and splat.
Do it.
I'll do that right now.
Do it. Yeah. So a volcanic crust is breaking, and you want this to be an over-the-top comic, and that the lava then is expunged forth from that. And what would the sound effect be that had both the hard and soft sound? Using the most, I don't know if ChatGPT has enough sound effects in there.
All right, so I said make one word using these two words, crunch and splat. You ready?
Well,
here we go. Let's crunch and splat. It's giving me crunch plat. Not good enough. Again.
No, you gotta be more creative than crunch and plat. I
know. Well, hit that splunch.
Yeah, that's
splunch.
Good. How about
I'm gonna do it again.
Here you go. No, that's good. Let's call it crust splunch because you have this like this.
Huh? Ooh,
you got the of Crom, and this is the hard sound, right, of the cracking,
right,
and then the splunch. That's almost like a word, like he's plunging.
God, it's so good, and it's gonna run. I'm gonna run it like this, right through his belly. Right through his belly, right?
Like
right
tell me that? No.
Right here.
All that room on the side.
Where?
To his left. You have all this.
Oh, I got to do it over here. You want it over here?
Start it there. I would start it there with a big apostrophe, and then do the splunch so that it's sinking in, and then it could go towards.
So like this.
Towards his midsection. Yeah, but you got some nice bubbles there. You don't want to obscure too
much. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And
I'll just do it.
Come La Mulgren is no more. We'll go home and start rebuilding from the wreckage he left behind.
Slide over. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the same thing. I gotta just put some accent lines.
Yeah, just as an accent line, and then do something about this hair. Like this hair is a stringy mess. You need it to be
Okay.
like just flip
Detail
open,
Satsune it.
right? Flip open any
Give me some.
Curtis era Marvel book and see how they do the hair. But and then yeah, those pointy mountains. Those are
Too
a
much.
little unrealistic. Yeah, that make them irregular shaped. Like they all look like they look like they're like paper cutouts or something.
Mm.
Um, Maybe you want to have some white cracks here. This you have some circular lines and then some radial lines. Maybe you want to
Uh-huh. Yeah, put
make
some like white crack lines.
some
Yeah.
crackly lines in there. And are you gonna do a fin?
Huh?
Finny? Are you gonna do a fin?
Oh no, this is what I'm actually. Let me grab a piece of paper real quick. I have a new, based on your suggestion last time. I'm doing this. Ready? That's going to be at the bottom right hand corner of each of the pages.
What? Oh, okay, right.
So it's like a skull, but it's just
Yeah.
like all these little lines.
Right, like Epic had the E, right? It means like
Right, right,
we're done
right,
here. I think
right.
maybe some of those horror DC horror books they had like the little host, right? With the guy with the hat with enchanted tail. All right, folks.
Wow! Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jake.
Check out our main channel. This is Turbo Pit Fighter. We're making a sci-fi post-apocalyptic comic. You got a little bit of Crom for your barbarian needs and your sword and sorcery pleasure. We're closing in on Turbo Teaser number 2, the first 12 pages. Kurt, I am gonna have to give you something for the masthead. Now her head is supposed to be in front of the masthead, and her fist is covering a lot of it. But I might at least just put.
Good.
If you can send me that page,
you want it as a PDF?
Yeah, just send it to me like a decent resolution, and I'll fix it up because that's not the final what you got right there.
I'm not. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So that's it, folks. Check out Turbo Pit Fighter on YouTube, and you can see the next Crom update here in this feed that you found this one. Look at all those pages. A lot of hard work here.
Woo! Yeah, I'm like a third of the way into the last story, which is called The Sacrifice, which is 10 pages. So I am moving along. I had a goal to have all 4 stories heavily inked, basically completed. If not, I'm definitely going to hit you up probably next week and try to squeeze in some time where you review The Sacrifice 10 pages. And then I'll just be doing all those edits and getting on to packaging this book. So
no sweat.
All right. Thank you again, Jake. And I will see you over on Turbo's Land.
See you in Turbo World.